government, through the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, has reiterated President Bola Tinubu's administration's commitment to boosting food security through strategic partnerships with development agencies aimed at encouraging increased investment in food production across the country. A statement by the Director, Information and Publicity, Fumi Imoitiya, says the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Itsev, said this when the newly appointed country representative of the Food and Agriculture Organization to Nigeria, Godin Hussein, and his delegation paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja, noting that Itsev during the visits emphasized the government's strong commitment to enforcing and enhancing food production in the country. The Nigeria Forest Security Service has urged the federal government to recognize forest security as a crucial component of the nation's overall security framework. Deputy Commander General in charge of intelligence in the Security Service, John Meche, made the call during a zonal training session for personnel in Jos, Plateau State capital. Meche said the forest had remained one of the most vulnerable and ungoverned spaces in Nigeria, yet receives little attention in national security planning. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has rejected the newly unveiled National Industrial Relations Policy approved by the Federal Executive Council, warning that it aims to criminalize strikes and silence unions. In a strongly worded statement, the Council's President, Joe Ajaero, said the policy infringes on constitutionally guaranteed labor rights and targets industrial actions unfairly. Ajaero said the previous attempts to include anti-strike clauses in the draft were opposed by labor and industry stakeholders, calling the final version reprehensible and anti-worker. The House of Representatives Committee on Anti-Corruption, led by Kayode Akeolu, has launched a probe into the effectiveness of anti-corruption and transparency units embedded in over 400 ministries, departments, and agencies of government amid allegations that some have lost relevance or been compromised. At a public hearing in Abuja, Akeolu questioned whether anti-corruption and transparency units, originally introduced in 2001 by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission to decentralize anti-graft oversight, still serve their intended purpose in curbing internal corruption. Civil society organizations, whistleblowers, and public officials are expected to testify as the House evaluates potential reforms or restructuring of the anti-corruption and transparency units model. As Nigeria inches closer to the 2027 general elections, power rotation debates are beginning to stir political waters. From the north to the south, different regional blocs are positioning themselves for the next turn at the presidency, with growing arguments intensifying around equity, fairness, and the zoning formula. Our correspondent Kabir Hassan takes it from here.
Power rotation has once again stirred up debate in the political landscape of Nigeria as the 2027 election draws near. The conversation now is, should President Bola Tinubu seek a second term, or is it time for a change in leadership? While others argue that the Southeast deserve a shot at the presidency, others insist Tinubu must complete his 8 years, just like his predecessor. But has President Tinubu fulfilled his promises to Nigerians? If yes, why did the Northerners are calling for a shift in power and the Southerners standing its ground? Today we are out on the street of Abuja to hear what Nigerians can say about President Bola Tinubu's regime. Has President Bola Tinubu fulfilled his promises to Nigerians?
For me, no. President Bola Tinubu has actually failed Nigerians.
Tinubu has not yet completed his promise to Nigeria.
Oh yeah, complete what? We never see anything. No.
I don't think he's completed any promise.
No, enough of it.
Many Nigerians are openly comparing Tinubu's administration to that of former late President Muhammadu Buhari, with some expressing disappointment and others asking for patience, while stating reasons why they will not vote for Tinubu ahead of 2027 election.
I don't subscribe to Tinubu being elected for the second time because his policies have not make any impact to Nigerians.
The first time I elected him due to the promise that he gave to us, but now we are not see the promise. If I not see the promise again, the second time we are not going to vote for him.
I can't vote Tinubu for 2027, and I can assure you that he can't win the election 2027.
Across the board, citizens are also highlighting the sectors they believe the next president should focus on.
The number one thing is insecurity. That person that will have the capacity to tackle the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is welcome.
So what I really want from the next person or the next president, capability, good hearts, and understand the plight of the people. We're suffering. The fuel should come down. Food should be available. It's not available for free, but at least we can afford it. Then infrastructure, road, education as well.
Thing for market, tip, transport, fuel. So now what you need for 2027 be that.
As Nigerians inches closer to 2027 general election, the question of power rotation continues to divide opinion, from calls for equity by the Southeast to demand for continuity from the Southwest and agitation for a shift from the North. One thing is clear, the road to 2027 will shape not just by politics, but by the voices of Nigerians themselves. I am Hassan Kabir, reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Kabir. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has called for stronger collaboration among all stakeholders to combat electoral fraud in future elections across the country. Resident Electoral Commissioner in Osun State, Mutiu Agoke, said this while speaking with journalists after appearing on the political program in the state capital. Agoke questioned the roles played by other stakeholders, particularly the media, security agencies, civil society organizations, political class and religious leaders during elections, while urging key players to wake up to their responsibilities and do what is necessary for the advancement of Nigeria's democracy. Let's turn to Nigeria's southeast now, where Imo State's government says it is stepping up its response to the growing threat of climate change by adopting a more inclusive and community-led approach. Commissioner for Environment and Sanitation, Ejikeme Emenike, says the state government is working in collaboration with civil society actors in order to prioritize grassroots involvement in shaping and implementing climate solutions. Our correspondent Samarachi Ibe reports from Owerri.
In Imo State, climate change is no longer an abstract topic. From erosion eating into farmlands to seasonal flooding displacing families, the crisis is hitting closer to homes and the response is becoming more localized. To address these growing concerns, the Imo State Commissioner for Environment and Sanitation, Ejikeme Emenike, says the state government, in partnership with the civil society groups, is implementing a community-driven climate strategy. He says the initiative is aimed at ensuring no one is left out of the fight against environmental degradation.
Imo State government, under the dynamic leadership of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma, CON, has already begun laying a strong foundation by prioritizing environmental sustainability, strengthening institutions, mainstreaming climate consideration across states.
The Commissioner further urged government agencies to integrate climate priorities into their development plans, budgets, and daily operations.
It is a call to action, a call to reimagine governance in the face of climate change, and to embrace a future where every voice is heard, every community is empowered, and every challenge becomes an opportunity for transformation and growth.
Executive Director Space for Change, Victoria Ibezimo-Henry, says early stage projects are being rolled out in communities ranging from reforestation and erosion control.
Their mandate is basically to develop a localized climate change policy, and what that policy would do is to provide a strategic direction that will, for reducing the state's carbon footprint incentivize renewable energy development, and prioritize nature-based solutions such as reforestation and ecosystem restoration.
With unpredicted weather patterns and worsening environmental risks, stakeholders in Imo State believe that community involvement is key to building long-term resilience. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Away from climate issues now, the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has condemned Governor Umar Bago's shutdown of Badji 90.1 FM in 90 states, calling it, quotes, executive rascality, unquote, and an unlawful attack on press freedom. The association's president, Afam Osigwe SAN, in a statement, urged the police and relevant authorities to disregard the order, warning that such actions violate democratic norms and constitutional rights. The governor has cited incitement and unethical broadcast as reasons for the closure, but the NBA insisted that regulation must follow due process under law, not arbitrary fiat. July 30 each year is a day set aside by the United Nations as the International Day of Friendship, specifically to commemorate the value of friendliness. People around the world use the day as an opportunity to come together with their friends, share love as well as their experiences on what friendship is about. In this special report, our correspondent Zirao Nasir speaks to Nigerians in the nation's capital, Abuja, to highlight the essence of friendship.
To mark the International Day of Friendship, the United Nations encourages governments, international organizations, and civil society groups to hold events, activities, and initiatives that contribute to the efforts of the international community towards promoting a dialogue among civilizations, solidarity, mutual understanding, and reconciliation. The International Day of Friendship was proclaimed in 2011 by the United Nations General Assembly with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. Some of the people interviewed share their experiences on how important it is to them.
Without friendship, I don't know where I could have been by now. Friendship has been of a very great importance to my life as a person. My advice to people regarding friendship is to be honest, to be truthful, to be straightforward.
Friends are very, very important in the sense that friend indeed are friend in need. So for me, I consider friends to be people that are useful to your life, you know, by sacrificing in one way or the other.
Friends is a kind of God-sent experience to mankind, be it good or bad. If you have a good friend, you will learn one or two from him. If you only have a bad friend, you also learn one or two things from him. It may come as an advantage or equal as a disadvantage.
However, some also have not so pleasant experiences on how they have suffered betrayal by persons they had considered friends.
Most of us will see friendship is a scam because today you trust someone, you trust somebody with one secret or the other, and tomorrow the person is backstabbing you. So most of us have had bitter experiences from friendship. The advantage, for me, I think the disadvantage to me outweighs the advantage.
I won't call that a betrayal. I will just call that should be a lesson to me. I will learn from that. I won't just call that a betrayal. It's just a lesson, because anytime a friend you called it a betrayal actually, but anytime a friend did something like that to you, I will just take it like, oh, this is something I'm supposed to learn. Maybe I didn't learn it from onset, so I will just look for a way and adjust it.
Friendship is viewed by many people from different perspectives. This year's commemoration is yet another reminder that rewarding friendships can be cultivated and nurtured to benefit all parties involved. Zahra Nasir, reporting for Global TV News.
Definitely, we all need friends. Thank you, Zirao. This is Global Television, and you're watching a live broadcast of News Cycle. When the rest of the news returns, United Nations says human rights situation in Haiti extremely worrying. The details coming shortly, plus business as well as foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. Let's now begin the second part of this news broadcast with business. The World Bank says it will likely approve a $250 million loan for Nigeria next month under its health security program aimed at improving the country's capacity to handle public health emergencies. The project will be managed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and targets better disease prevention, detection, and regional collaboration amid their health statistics, including a 54-year life expectancy, as well as over 800,000 annual deaths. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, also called OPEC Plus, is set to raise oil production by 548,000 barrels per day in September, continuing a month-long reversal of earlier cuts amid geopolitical pressure and changing market dynamics. The move, which finalizes the unwinding of a prior 2.2 million barrels per day cut, comes as the group faces tensions around Russian supply and shifting global demand. In a country where the internet connects millions of jobs, education, health, and other opportunities, the rising cost of data may become a setback to national development. The galloping cost of internet connectivity, which affects nearly every Nigerian, the resilience impacts might be unimaginable if proper policies are not put in place to regulate the sector. Our correspondent Sidia Yakubu takes a look at the high cost of data and its impacts on Nigerians.
Today is no longer news that Nigerians are struggling to survive in the midst of numerous economic challenges, with mobile network operators in the country systematically passing on operating costs of data consumers. In addition, the sudden increase on the cost of data subscription has gradually but steadily driven business, particularly those in the micro and small brackets, to the brink. At the height of this, questions are being asked to determine major factors driving this astronomical cost increase. We speak to a cross-section of Nigerians on the streets who share their views and experiences on this issue.
See, it's not easy for us. So, if like 2 years back or 3 years back, when I use data, they enjoy the data. If you even buy like 5,000, you go use and they do watch YouTube, watch this. But now, just like I said, that they use straw. They suck it that.
Telecommunications operators recently made a strong case for an upward review of tariff cutting across calls, text messaging, and internet data services. These developments drawing criticism from subscribers as expected, seen at least 50% increase in this regard.
The cost is becoming so much that the normal Nigerian will not be able to afford. Please, the government should help us reduce it. And I think by that way, most little business that is trying to come up can go up.
Apparently, access to affordable internet is directly linked to economic growth, education, as well as success to robust healthcare services. It is often said that when people cannot afford data, they may not also be able to access knowledge, find remotely work, or sell online. As the maximum goes, the cost of data is the cost of opportunities.
It's crazy, especially when you're using an iPhone. The data finishes on time, but at least on Android it's still manageable. But an iPhone user, no.
The digital world is here, but how many Nigerians can truly afford to be part of it? The cost of data isn't just about Naira and Kobo. It's about access, equality, and the future. Let's push for a Nigeria where everyone can connect without going broke. Sadia Yakubu Yahya, Global Television.
Of course, there's no doubt we cannot deepen internet penetration without also paying attention to the cost of data. Thank you so very much, Sadia. Let's now turn to the foreign scene, where the United Nations now says Haiti's human rights crisis is worsening, with at least 1,520 people killed and 609 injured in gang violence between April and June this year. Over 4,800 have died since October 2024, with thousands more injured, raped or kidnapped, and 1.3 million displaced. The UN is urging urgent global support amid a power vacuum and no general election since President Jovenel Moise's 2021 assassination. The Palestine Red Crescent Society has accused Israeli forces of striking its Khan Yunis headquarters, killing a staffer and injuring 3 others as fire engulfed the building. The agency says the facility was clearly marked and its location well known to Israeli forces, while the Israeli Defense Forces denied knowledge of any strike. The attack adds to rising concerns over Gaza's humanitarian crisis, with over 1,300 Palestinians reportedly killed while seeking food. President Donald Trump has reiterated United States support for Morocco's autonomy plan in Western Sahara, framing it as the only viable solution to the long-standing territorial disputes with the Polisario Front. Trump's statement aligns with the recognition granted during his first term under the Abraham Accords, which saw Morocco normalize ties with Israel. Algeria, backing the Saudi Republic, continues to reject compromise and has boycotted United Nations mediated talks seeking resolution. Let's turn to sport now, where the world is always exciting. Nigeria's D Tigers came from behind to beat Senegal 75-68 and reached their 5th straight women's Afrobasket final in a dramatic showdown in Abidjan. Despite trailing by 8 in the final quarter, a spirited run led by Ezine Kalu and Victory McCauley seals the win as Nigeria closed the game with a 10-3 scoring burst. The win extends Nigeria's dominance over Senegal, who had not defeated them since 2011, setting up a final against either Mali or South Sudan. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Nigeria's D Tigers for reaching their 5th consecutive FIBA Women's Afro-Basketball final. The team defeated Senegal in a closely contested semi-final held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. The president praised their resilience and dominance, as well as expressed confidence in their continued success. And now a bit of football. Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman had spoken out strongly against his current club, Atalanta, accusing them of blocking a potential move away, despite what he described as prior agreements and repeated discussions. Lookman, who played a vital role in Atalanta's Europa League triumph last season, said he has now formally submitted a transfer request after what he calls many months of broken promises. In a passionate and lengthy statement, Lookman shared his frustration over the club's refusal to let him leave despite receiving a fair offer. And that's a full cycle here on the news. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Guya Mofwemi. Thanking you for watching. We'll see you again.